didn't get the call of either one. So please come back and I'll try and get the call. Go ahead. Okay, I got Whiskey Alpha Zero Zulu. And was there another one? Go ahead.
Norway Zero Radio Echo Hotel.
Okay, I got Norway Zero Radio Alpha Hotel. Is that correct? Go ahead.
Radio Echo Hotel.
Excuse me, Radio Echo Hotel. Very well. Is there anybody else who would like to check in? Go ahead. Okay, we'll see if Mike, K0JTA, can copy both of you guys. If not, then we'll take you one at a time. Go ahead.
Okay, here's K0JTA, and I didn't get the other station you're hearing. Somebody else there, but I did not get that other station. But I do have N0REH, and he's from the Minneapolis-St. Paul metropolitan area, I believe. Real good. Thanks very much, David. I did get the computer plugged back in. It is now playing. I got the kitchen Mac in the shop unhooked from the switch here, I think. I'm just going by memory here, which is not very good. At any rate, N0REH and the software-defined radio net. This is K0JTA. Go ahead, over. He's not hearing me, I guess. David, give REH a call. I'm hearing him quite well here. Over.
Okay, this is WB6JFH calling N0REH. Go ahead, please.
Okay, good afternoon. This is Norway Zero Radio Echo Hotel. This is over in Minnesota. And I'm just down the road here waiting for Mike, but just far enough to see. I can't see the Kelly's in there, but I can't make out anything he's saying. But I wanted to check in today. I've been talking with Mike a few times about the problem I had with getting my radio to work remote, because I think there's a team viewer problem. But I got that problem taken care of. Seems that I want a different radio. I am now working off of the 6400 here now, so I do have my 5,000 for sale. Everybody's interested. The 5,000 the bill receiver, and tuner, and firewire, all in good shape. So if you reach me at 612-790-3332,
Okay, Richard. Yeah, very good. I'm glad you've got the remote stuff working for you. And even though you had to change radios to do that, it's still working for you. You're running about S9 here, same as Mike. Beautiful copy, and looking on the pan adapter, the signal looks great as well, so your new radio is working fine. And Mike said he can hear you, but apparently you can't hear him, so it's one of those one-way deals and stuff. So very good, and I think Mike, priority, so I'll let him make any comments, and if I have to, I'll relay there for him. So, going to K0JTA, Mike, go ahead.
Okay, real good. WB6GFH and the software-defined radio net. This is K0JTA. Yep, I got some stuff unplugged here, and it's still playing reasonably well here. Matter of fact, my drop frame rate is down to 0%, which is just astounding. Yet I'm looking at pretty much a full bandwidth as far as the bandwidth being occupied, which might be due to the fact that I'm running the live stream here. I'm not sure where this data is coming from, make a long story short. At any rate, okay, and Richard having a new 6500. I used to have one of those myself, a nice radio, and he's had to sell his 5000A. I suppose the big difference there, he went from a FireWire connection to an Ethernet port connection, and maybe that resolved his issue. I know that he used to work before. Something had changed, he had lost the ability to control it, and that was the big thing. So, at any rate, yeah, I don't know what I'd be able to offer as far as Richard to help there. but you had some other station that you were able to hear, David. I did not hear that station, so if you'd give another call, that might be a good thing. WB6JFH out there on the West Coast. This is K0JTA. Back to David, and this is the software-defined radio net. Go ahead there, David. Over. WB6JFH, this is K0JTA, over. Something must have happened there. WB6JFH, WB6JFH, this is K0JTA, over. Nothing heard. Richard, Enzer REH, I'm hearing you quite well here. I don't know what you're running for power. I'm running about 400 watts of power here. Enzer REH and the software-defined radio net. This is K0JTA, over. Nothing heard. Alright, anybody out there would like to check into the software-defined radio net. This is K0JTA, standing by, over.
Uniform Mike.
KI6UM, no, KI6, yeah, I think it's KI6UM. Doggone it. No, I forget your prefix, Lou. Yeah, I think it's KI6UM, and I guess this is K0JTA. Good afternoon, how are you doing, over?
Good afternoon and good morning from California, Mike. K0JTA and the software-defined radio group. This is Kilo India 6 Uniform Mike. Very good, very good. Conditions are not perfect, but I copy you, and there's another station near you, November 0, Radio Echo Hotel, that's been trying to get a hold of you, but I don't think he can hear him. However, if he has an important message for you, I can relay. So back to you, Mike. K0JTA and the software-defined radio net, KI6UM.
Very good. KI6UM and the SDR net. This is K0JTA. Yeah, that's Richard, Enzer REH. I think he's in Apple Valley or something like that, which is the metro area of the Minneapolis and St. Paul area. And I'm hearing him quite well here. Not as strong as you. You were about S5 to S7, but I have 100% copy on REH. So, yeah, maybe you could give him a call and see what, because I'm able to hear Richard just fine, but he's not hearing me. And good afternoon to you. Nice to hear you on, by the way, Lou. Very, very nice. KI6UM and the SDR net. This is K0JTA. Go ahead, Lou, over.
Alright, there's a little pause in there if somebody wants to break in. K0JTA and the software-defined radio group, KI6UM. Very good. Well, with your permission, I'm going to give Richard a call and see if he has a message for you. So here we go. November 0, Radio Echo Hotel. This is KI6UM, and I can relay to Mike. Go ahead.
KSL Enzer REH. No, nothing personal for Mike. Well, I guess you could tell him that I figured that my remote problem was with TV viewer. And so anyway, I just bought a different radio. I've got the 6400 now. So I have the 5008 for sale. So, for those anybody looking for 5008. There's anything else you call for, give me a call.
All right, very good, Richard. I think Mike can hear you, but I don't think you can hear him. But let me find out if Mike received your information there. K0JTA, the software-defined radio group, KI6UM. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, real good. Yeah, KI6UM and the SDR net. This is K0JTA. Yeah, I'm hearing Rich just fine, Richard. And yeah, he said he had a Flex 5000A with new receivers and this kind of stuff, and he had lost the ability to control it remotely, and he was now resolved it by going to the Flex 6500, which is using an Ethernet connection to the computer as opposed to the other one requiring a FireWire connection, and that must have been the root cause, or something on his firewire had gone west or something like that. But yet he was able to control the radio, of course, with his computer. And of course that required the firewire connection between the radio and his computer. But he was not able to control the radio or operate the radio remotely, and that was what he wanted to do. So okay, real good. Yep, I did get it. So I'm just playing with the what do you call it, the video streaming here. At the moment it seems like it's behaving quite nicely. I got a green light here as far as the output, and I'm seeing, I'll have to look here and see what it is, but I think my drop frame is right down to nothing, so doing pretty darn good. I'm only putting out 20 frames per second, but I mean, that's plenty good enough. Kilobits per second, I'm showing 675 and 647, so kilobits per second, and my bandwidth is limited here to 1 megahertz or 1,000 kilobits, so it's working okay. N0, yeah, K0JTA, Lou, go ahead. This is K0JTA, and this is the software-defined radio net. Go ahead, Lou, over.
Very good, Mike. Yeah, Richard said that he had a glitch with his Steam Viewer. He's got that going. So apparently everything is working for him. However, he says he's got the Flex 5000 for sale. If you hear of anyone looking for a Flex 5000, please let him know. Go ahead, Mike.
Yep, we'll do it. You might want to ask him what he's asking for his 5,000, just out of curiosity, over.
Richard, Mike is asking what's the asking price on the 5,000. Go ahead, Richard.
Oh, I'm negotiable, you know. I guess I was looking for 14, but I'm negotiable there.
Okay, Mike, you heard that, right?
Yeah, 1,400, I think, over.
Yeah, 14 and negotiable.
Yeah. Well, it's a nice radio, there's no doubt. I've had actually 2 of them at one time, one in the basement shop and then one up here in the family room. So I do know the radio, and it was always just a good old-fashioned workhorse, but it did require the firewire connection, just like the Flex 3000, over.
Yeah, I had the 3000. That's a nice radio. This is the trick. Does very well. The thing I notice I like better about the Anon is that pure signal, and also the filtering. I think it's a little bit better. It's been tweaked. But basically, the base firmware software is the same. It's just been modified for the Anon. All right, I'll let you go there, Mike. See if we can find somebody else to join us here on the group. K0JTA in the software-defined radio group, KI6UM.
Okay, real good. And tell Richard, thank you for checking in, by the way, if you would please, I'll do over.
There is another station there in Zulu checking in. Go ahead, Zulu. Okay, I'll relay to Mike. Whiskey Oscar 0 Zulu, I believe. This is KI6UM. Okay, Mike, Whiskey Oscar 0 Zulu is near you, he says. She cannot hear you over the air, but he can hear you on YouTube. So go ahead and say hello to WO0 Zulu, Mike. Go ahead.
Okay, real good. K0JTA and the software-defined radio net. This is K0JTA. Yeah, very good. Yeah, matter of fact, I forget his name now. Doggone it. Dan, is it? Yeah, doggone it. I got such a terrible, rotten, poor memory. Just flat, non-existent, pretty much. But he and I were just on the telephone here. He called me and was quizzing me about antennas and things like that. So that's about the deal there. I don't know if he's running his loop antenna or his beam antenna. In my case, I'm running my 75-meter loop antenna at about 35 feet. So that's about the deal there. So, yep, I can hear him in there, but I certainly could not communicate at all. So Yeah, go ahead and just relay that if there's anything further to be relayed. I don't know. KI6UM, thank you very much. This is K0JTA. Go ahead, Lou, over.
Very good. K0JTA and the software defined radio group, KI6UM. Okay then, WO0 Zulu. I'm assuming you heard Mike on YouTube. He wants to know if you're running your beam or your loop, but I believe you can hear him on YouTube. So if you have any information on that, which antenna you're using, go ahead and I'll relay it to him. Go ahead, Dan.
Okay, yeah, very good. It's Dan, Delta Alpha November, and I've used both. I'm using the loop. I can hear Mike better on the loop, but I am transmitting to the west, your direction, with my beam. I cannot hear him on my beam, but I can hear Mike on my loop.
Oh, very good. Okay, I'll relay that to Mike. Okay, Mike, Dan says that he can hear you on his loop, but right now he's transmitting on his beam that's directed to the west. All right, very good. Come on, okay, Mike, go ahead and see if you can find it. So what happened to George, W2GS? I haven't heard him in quite a while. See if you can raise him. K0JTA in the software-defined radio group, KI6UM.
Okay, real good. KI6UM and the SDR net. This is K0JTA. By the way, I could hear Dan. I asked Dan right now if he's on his loop antenna right now or his beam antenna. I did not follow that. He said that he could hear me on his loop antenna, but I don't know if he's on his loop right now to transmit to you. And also asked Dan if he's hearing you better on his loop, and also maybe if you can hear him better on his loop as opposed to his tri-band beam antenna. KI6UM relaying for WO0Z. This is K0JTA. Go ahead, Lou, over.
Okay, very good. Dan, WO0Z, that's a mouthful. KI6UM. Yeah, Mike is asking if you can hear me better on the loop or the beam. I'm assuming you can hear me better on the loop on the beam, but he's let's see. Okay, go ahead and give me a transmission there, and if you want to check the loop and the beam, go ahead, Dan. WO0 KI6UM. Dan is going to switch over to his loop and to see if you can hear him. Okay, go ahead, Dan.
I'm hearing him better on his beam, but basically no copy either way. K0JTA, go ahead, Dan, or Lou.
Not 100%. On the beam, you're fine. You're 5'9". I'm assuming you're running a bit of power, too. I'm running about 700 watts into a beam, a KLM KT34A, and the radio is the Anon 8000. But I'm using an amplifier, about 700 watts output. All right, very good, Dan. I will relate that to Mike. K0JTA in the group, KI6UM. Hey, Mike, Dan tried the loop, but I don't think you heard them on the loop. Go ahead.
Yeah, I could hear Dan better with his beam antenna, but in both cases it's negative copy at this particular point. Over.
Very good. Okay, yeah, that's what he said. Dan, Mike could hear you a little bit better on the beam, but the loop not too good, not too good. All right, very good. Well, I'll let you go there, Mike, and see if you can find a few more people who are running SDR radios out there. It'd be interesting to see what as the radios are on the net. K0JTA and the group KI6UM. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, very good, very good. Interesting experiment though from Dan. That's really quite interesting. So, alrighty, let's see. Alright, let's see. This is K0JTA. My name is Mike. I'm located near Hampton, Minnesota, which is in the southeastern portion of the state of Minnesota. And this is the software-defined radio net. I'm running an IC7300 here, which does barely qualify as being a software-defined radio net. Not for the purists, which I used to be, but I used to have many flexes, and of course at least 2 of the N radios, and are still my favorite as far as that goes. But I'm taking the lazy man route here by going with the IC7300. Anyway, I'm kind of hoping that Anna comes out with a low-cost entry-level SDR. That would be really, really, really nice. And they haven't come out with a product for a long time. I've not heard any rumbling about it, but it would just be quite interesting. Also, Lou, you were asking about George down there. G was W2GS. I did get an email back from him, and I think I had sent it back to you. Only I guess I copied David in on it. But basically, he has just simply been busy and things like that. But you know, I guess it was out of the country, out of his local area for 2 weeks, for example, and other things like that. So that's about the way that goes. So, all right, anybody out there would like to check into the software-defined radio net? This is K0JTA standing by. Over. Hearing nothing here. Any relays? Anybody hear anything? Over. Not a thing. Okay. All right. Well, I'll pass it up to WB6JFH if you have anything further. And like I say, the live stream look like is working out okay. My drop frames here is 0.1%, which is just stupendously marvelous. So quite interesting. WB6JFH and the software-defined radio net. This is K0JTA. Go ahead, David. Over.
K0JTA in the group. WB6JFH. Okay, Mike. I lost power, so I'm trying to get back to working again. And so it was off for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then I had to reboot everything, so I kind of missed out a little bit. However, the tablet and the hotspot are all batteries, so that kept on going, so I could hear what was going on, just couldn't respond. So anyway, I think we're back up and running again. So we're here. I haven't heard anybody else, so I'll keep listening and say hello to Lou for me. I can just barely hear him, but the other 2 guys, the 0 calls were coming in S9 plus, so good signal there. Back to you, Mike. K0JTA in the group. WB6JFH. Go ahead.
Okay, real good. WB6JFH, K0JTA. Yeah, all of a sudden you did drop off there, so I'm glad you got that your power situation resolved. And it does take time to get the computer going and all this kind of stuff too. So got a total of 5 people watching, which is rather interesting. I was looking here on the chat. I'm not sure how to make the chat work. I see this top chat, but I don't see any text there, and I don't even see how I'd be able to enter text, although a week or so ago I did enter text. Don't know where that is. Just out of curiosity, David, have you heard any rumblings of any possible new product from Annan Radio? I would be tempted to jump into a new product, especially like an entry-level, low-cost radio. WB6JFH, K0JTA. Over.
K0JTA in the group. WB6JFH. No, I've not. I haven't heard anything. There was rumbling last year, beginning of this year, about building a new Hermes board or Hermes 2 board, which would use less expensive parts and stuff. But that's all I've heard. Then there's all this stuff that Phil was talking about, the guy there in Australia that does the firmware, about this Mavis stuff and putting all of the processing of the radio in the computer. So Apache Labs would just make an RF deck, and then that would be connected to the computer, and all the processing would take place inside the computer. So we wouldn't have an Orion board or anything like that. And I imagine that when they had that digital conference last month, that was probably talked about. But that's all I've heard. I've heard anything else. I've seen in the youth group, there's other people that were asking about a lower cost radio, or one that maybe also have 4 meters on it, that Europeans have, something like that. And that's all I've heard. So I don't know if that helps much. You're on, Mike. K0JTA in the group, WB6JFH. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, very, very, very interesting. Now, when you were explaining about this, gee, I can't even parrot the stuff back to you. At any rate, where the main PC board that's in the Android radios, that would go away, and so that processing will all be done in the computer then, so it just would require an RF board. That's very interesting. No, that's not related to Thetis, is it? Or is that what Thetis is all about? Or WB6JFH and the SDRNet. This is K0JTA. If you have any more words about that, I'm going to write it down this time. Over.
Okay, Mike. Yeah, it's in conjunction with that. Thesis is going to, when it comes out, it'll work for all the Apache Lab radios out now. This is a whole different approach of taking all of the processing out of the radio and put it in a computer, so it would be able to run Thesis as well. And so all Apache Labs would make would be the RF deck and stuff like that. But you'd have to buy these other boards, and there's a lot of advantages. Like, one of the things was mentioned that we could end up with 39 receivers. See, I can't even handle 3, so. But anyway, the putting the process in the computer will simplify everything. The firmware will be simplified, and the advantages will be many. So that's being talked about now. So, like Flex, they take the FPGA they use has a microprocessor on it. I think it's the name processor. So they do all their processing in the radio without a computer, and that's how they can get all the remote stuff working and things like that. So anyway, that's all that I've actually heard. I was kind of hoping George would eventually, be available, because he's got more of the pulse on what's happening with SDRs than I do and stuff like that. So that's all I actually know about. Back to you, K0JTA in the group, WB6JFH. Go ahead.
Okay, very, very, very interesting. Okay, I got the concept now. Where the computer would be the main ingredient, and the RF deck would be controlled then by the computer directly. Okay, I'm sure that would require probably a gigabit Ethernet, which of course these days is not a difficult thing to achieve. But my goodness, wow, that's just really, 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 really exciting. And that, yes, would really drop the price down then too, rather than have to have this really complicated board, Angelia or whatever it is, I forget. But that's a very, very busy, very, very complicated board. And if that process or the function can be duplicated or taken over by a decent computer, I suppose you need a pretty darn good computer then too. I don't know, of course. Well, none of us do, I guess, really. But yeah, it's just really, really, really cool. My goodness, that's just exciting as all get out. Yep, I'll be back on board. That's for darn sure. Then I did sell my last AN radio here sometime back. I went to these SDRs. Yeah, so that's just really cool. All right, Let's see. Anything further on that, David? And I'll ask for another check-in, then maybe your WB6JFH and the software-defined radio net. This is K0JTA. Go ahead, David. Over.
K0JTA in the group, WB6JFH. Well, the board that goes in the computer has its own processor. And there's another board that will be attached to it, if I understand this. So all the RF signals from the RF deck will go into the computer. And so I'm assuming some kind of coax cables for the signals going and coming from the computer. And that'll connect to this daughter board, which plugs into the main board, which will do all the processing. So there won't be any digital stuff other than be able to control the relays for changing bands and, you know, selecting filters and stuff like that. That's all will be in the radio itself. Everything else will be in the computer. So I don't know, you know, that's what they started out talking about. That's what Phil is talking about. And I guess he's doing some work on it to see if he could make this work as far as the firmware is concerned. And I guess Warren and the software developers are saying, yeah, if you get that to work, pieces will work fine with that setup as well as what we have now. So it looks like it would all play together once they get the hardware and the computers working. So that's as far as I've heard. Nothing else. The other thing I've heard is that John is still working on the Linux version of software for our radios, and he's also still working on the Pi, the Pi controller. I know you had one of those. But he's doing some kind of remodeling in the house, and that's taking up all of his time. So once that is completed, then he'll get back to developing those two software packages. By the way, I was able to update my Pi to the latest version of 1.2.3. I found that the original manual I downloaded had an error in the web address, the GitHub address, and that was my problem. I downloaded a new version, and there was the correction, and it worked fine, like it was supposed to. So anyway, that's what I've been reading and hearing about on the user group and stuff like that. Back to you, Mike. And I hope that answers all your questions. K0JTA, the group, WB6JFH, go ahead.
Okay, real good. WB6JFH and the software-defined radio net. This is K0JTA. Very, very, very interesting. My goodness. Yeah, okay. The daughter word and this kind of stuff. I just wrote down a few notes here and this kind of stuff. And sometimes I do listen to the, what is that? That group, it comes out every Friday. It seems like this week, though, it was on Saturday. I'm pretty sure it was, yeah. And I just kind of casually listened to it as I was doing something else, because I don't follow a lot of that stuff and things like that. But when you mentioned that, okay, John was he's working on a Pi, also Linux. Hopefully he would entertain the thought or possibility of working with the Asus Tinker board, because the Tinker board has got a lot more memory, much faster processor, and a much better Wi-Fi, much better Wi-Fi, faster and better range, and something else. Got a faster processor, yeah. I think the Ethernet board is also a 1 gigabit. I do have a Tinker board here. I used to have a Pi. I did sell my last one. Had a couple of them actually. I made them both into a remotely controlled, the control head, you might say, with the Raspberry Pi and things like that. But yeah, do you happen to know, David, what week, how many weeks back would I have to go to be able to see or listen to John's words on the Raspberry Pi? And I'll pay more attention to that, because that's really interesting to me. WB6GFH and the SDR net. This is K0JTA. Go ahead there, David. Over.
K0JTA in the group, WB6JFH. Now, this was posted early last week. Somebody was asking about the Linux version, and that's when John came on and told us that, you know, he was busy working on remodeling the house, and that was taking up all his time. When that is completed, then he'll get back to working on the Linux version, so you could use a Linux computer to run the radios, and then work on the Pi controller. And he still called it a Pi controller, so there was no mention of going to the Tinker board. But yeah, I think he's going to have to, because he needs that extra horsepower for to get all this other stuff working that Tinker board has that the Pi doesn't. So, but that was not mentioned. And I'm sure that as he goes along with the development, he'll start talking about, do we have to replace the board with the Tinker board and stuff like that to get all the features. So anyway, that's his post. You can go back, about a week. You know, last weekend or somewhere in there, I think is where I saw it. I still have it in my in my email, so if you want, I can go back and find it and tell you what date it is. Back to you, K0JTA in the group. And I even heard a little bit of Lou there for a few minutes on HF, but he's still pretty weak. Still no real signal path down to California from here on 20. K0JTA in the group, WB6JFH, go ahead.
Okay, real good. WB6JFH and the software-defined radio net. This is K0JTA. Extremely interesting. This is darn sure. Now, he said it was last week was posted, so okay. What it might be that I've turned off his particular feed then. What user group was this? I guess I was assuming that was being chatted about verbally on the weekly gatherings that they normally have on Friday. Last week was on Saturday. But at any rate, where is this user group? What is the user group called, and this kind of stuff? Because apparently I have not been getting this information. He said it was posted, so if you could enlighten me on that, or if you can find the thing, just go ahead and send it to me, and that'll give me the link, information, and things like that. David, WB6JFH and the STRNet. This is K0JTA. Go ahead, David, over.
K0JTA in the group, WB6JFH. Okay, Mike, yeah, it's on the Yahoo user group. The original Apache Lab Yahoo user group is where this was posted. And I would imagine that Scott had probably put some of that into the forum as well. But I saw it on the user group, so it's the old Yahoo, I can't talk now. Yahoo user group that was around when I first started playing with Apache Lab radios in 2016. And that's where the comments were. Go ahead.
Okay, Doc, real good. Yeah, I know I used to get that stuff, and maybe I dropped off. I'm sure I'm still a member, but I don't. I probably turned off the feed because I no longer have an Apache radio here, and that's really kind of a shame. I'm just once in a while I get the sweats thinking about how fun it used to be to have those the radios that I used to have, because it's just really it's just the favorite. It's certain. Like I said, I've had many of the Fluxus, but by golly, the Apache Labs, though they have done such a nice job on that on the software. There's no doubt, especially the firmware. The hardware is fine too, but the software is especially really nice, I thought. And of course, yeah, it's based on Power SDR, but they took the ball and really ran with it, and so they've done just a heck of a nice job. Okay, and be on the Yahoo user group. I think I'll be able to find it. If I don't, I'll drop you a note or something like that, but that's good enough then. I gotta get in there and just start reading about this stuff, because boy, oh boy, this sounds really exciting, and if he can make this thing work, that's really quite good. Okay, and by the way, you said you had upgraded your Raspberry Pi to a version 1.2.3. That's the operating system. I guess I forget now if there's a firmware load you have to do. I don't think there's a firmware. There could be wrong, but I'm not sure exactly what you had upgraded there. But yeah, the Asus Tinkerboard, strange name. It doesn't have much support or popularity. It does have some, but it's not as much as it would be kind of needed, you might say. And I sure wish I would get more attention. There was a guy, John, from over there in the UK, who had done some experimentation with it for something, and then he actually wound up making an application or some modifying the applications that he could use the Tinkerboard like he would be able to use the Raspberry Pi with to make the remote controlled interface to the Anon radios, and that was quite gratifying, I guess, because it was, you know, it didn't have any suffering of the limited bandwidth and power and abilities and this kind of stuff that the Raspberry Pi has got. Like I say, if you expand the Ethernet port, the memory available, and of course the processor speed and this kind of stuff, that's a good thing. And I don't think, well, okay, if you look at these boards, they look exactly the same. I shouldn't say exactly the same. The layout as far as the placement of the controls, the ports are all the same. You could take a Raspberry Pi or the Asus Tinkerboard and put it into the same plastic holder or case or whatever you have, and it fits perfectly. So it's obviously modeled after the possibility of taking away some of the traffic or the Raspberry Pi users, because you could just like a drop-in. But the problem is that drop-in is only for the physical hardware, as far as I understand. I don't know, and I wish I knew more about it, but I don't think you can simply run the Raspberry Pi software on a Tinkerboard. I really have no idea. WV6JFH and the SDRNet, this is K0JTA, and we'll wrap this up then, but I'll look for any further comments that you might have to have there, David, over.
K0JTA in the group, WV6JFH. Okay, Mike, yeah, the Tinkerboard uses a different operating system. Uses something called Durbin, if I'm pronouncing it right, whereas the Pi uses Raspbian. They're all versions of Linux and stuff like that, so you'd have to download on the Tinkerboard a different operating system that's on than the Pi uses, and then download the software. And the John you're talking about is the one I'm talking about, John Moulton, N0 something. I can't remember the rest of the call now. That he's the one that put together he and another guy put together the Pi controllers. The other guy did the hardware stuff, you know, built the board so that you can have knobs and buttons and stuff like that, and also put the 5-volt regulator in there, because both boards run off of 5 volts, but the controller runs off of 13 volts, or I guess it can work down to about 11 or 10.5 volts or something like that. But anyway, so it's a different system, similar to the Raspbian, if I'm pronouncing that right. And so, but I've been doing a little looking on the web about the Tinkerboard, and I might just, you know, sometime in the near future buy one, and then go ahead and try and make the change, because it's dropping into the controller, and then download all this other stuff, and then I'll be ready for whatever John comes up with. So we'll see how that goes. Have to check the finances for that, but we'll go from there. So that's my understanding, Mike. You have to use a different operating system. It's still based on Linux, but it's a different system for the Tinkerboard. So anyway, we'll see, you know, once John gets back to this, we'll see what he comes up with. The Linux version, so you could run it on a Linux computer instead of a Windows or a Mac computer. And it's supposedly you're going to have basically as many of the features that we have in Windows, like I'm running now, you know, with the Power SDR software. And, you know, like Pure Signal and all the other stuff that's in there. So it'll be for those people that hate Windows, and apparently the number of those people are growing with all the issues with Windows 10 and stuff. But anyway, so there's the computer side, and then there's the controller side. And he's working on both of those. I guess he's really good at Linux. You know, like Warren is really good with Windows and DST and things like that. So anyway, we'll see what comes out of that. You know, maybe someday I will go to Linux, because I'm not a big fan of Windows either. It's what I have to use, basically. not what I want to use, but what I have to use to do everything else, you know. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. And I haven't heard anybody else, so I left a little break to see if anybody else checked in. Haven't heard anybody, so maybe there's a couple people who still want to check in, so we'll give it back to you, Mike. K0JTA in the group, WB6JFH, go ahead.
Okay, real good. Yeah, I heard a real strong signal just hitting the key here, so there's somebody out there that's hearing us maybe that I should be able to, but yep, very, very, very interesting. And yeah, John Bolton, I can't think of his call either, but yeah, when I get back there, I'll recognize it. There's another guy, Bruce, his name, another guy that's really very heavily into this stuff, it seems like, but John is one of the forerunners, but the John I'm speaking of here, or was mentioning, is from the UK, but he's probably got the same first name, but similar skills and this kind of stuff. And John over in the UK, as far as I recall, was a person who had first introduced at least me to the existence of the Tinkerboard by Asus, and so that was kind of interesting. Alright, this is K0JTA. My name is Mike. I'm in southeastern Minnesota. If you'd like to be able to see what I see and hear what I hear to some degree, you can look me up in K0JTA.com. At the top of the page, there's a link to YouTube. Once you get to YouTube, you can look for one that says active. I think the text is going to be red below that active element. Click on that, it'll take you to the live feed. And at that point, you'll be able to see what's on the mess on my computer here. Basically, it's effectively controlling my IC 7300 here at this particular point. Anybody out there would like to check in? This is K0JTA standing by, over. Hearing nothing here. Okay, anybody else got anything for the net? There is K0 Juliet Tango Alpha, over. Pretty darn quiet. Okay. NZRAH was in there. Of course, I can't. He's not hearing me. WO0Z Dan, just maybe 30 miles south of me, he was in there, but we could just hear each other a little bit, but not very well at all. And of course, I do have KI6UM carrying him just fine, and WB6JFH hearing him just fine also. Anybody out there that would like to jump in, any questions, any comments, if you'd like to check in, this is the software defined radio net. But of course, you do not need to have a software defined radio. If you have an interest, fine. If you don't, that's okay too. Anybody would like to check in, come in now. K0JTA, over. Nothing heard. Anybody have anything more for the net? Otherwise, you can consider wrapping things up here. Been a very, very interesting session, especially with the information from WB6JFH there on this on the postings from a yet undefined, totally undefined, at least to me, John on the Yahoo user group for the Apache radio. Sounds very, very, very interesting. Okay, anybody have anything further for the net? Here is K0 Juliet Tango Alpha standing by, over. K0JTA, WB6JFH. Go ahead there, David, over.
Okay, just wanted to mention that John is listed in the manual as one of the developers for the software for the Apache Lab radios. He's there with Warren and Phil. Phil and Doug do the firmware. And then Doug's also the repair person for the radio for, I guess, the North I can't talk. For at least us, anyway. And I guess there's a counterpart in Europe that works on the radios and stuff as well. You know, when they have problems, like one guy had a connector fail. He had no output. Doug had found the connector. It was a cold solder joint, as he said, and he fixed it. Actually replaced the whole connector, and the guy had his radio back within a week. So, really good job there. Doug found the problem with the 8000 the lab reviewed there in April, and the coupler had a different output than it probably should have, so he changed some resistors in the radio, and that fixed that problem. So now the pure signal works just like all the other 8,000, 7,000, practically all the other M-line Active radios. You just had to change a couple values, and that took care of it. I guess you didn't want to change the coupler. I thought I would have. If the coupler was not coupling right, I thought I would still have to change the coupler. It's easier just to change a couple of, nickel, not even nickel, probably a penny parts and changing a coupler, but probably is a lot more expensive than a couple of pennies and stuff. So anyway, so that was in the user group as well. Then there's in this issue of QST, there's a page talking about what happened, what the fix was, and then remeasurements of it, where now it has pure signals working like it's supposed to, reducing the distortion by at least 15 dB, and in this case it was about 18 stuff, which is probably what Lou gets and George gets when they do their, do the measurement with the new software. Because now we got pure signal 2, which allows you to do this test by yourself. Just hook up to a dummy load and set it up, and you can see how the pure signal works. I've done it, and this 7,000 reduces it by about 17 dB. So, and that's right within the ballpark. Anyway, so that's what we all have, and we'll hopefully talk to you guys next week, and maybe I'll have my KT34 up by then. Hopefully, anyway. So back to you, Mike. K0JTA and the crew. WB6JFH.
Okay, real good. WB6JFH and the software-defined radio net. This is K0JTA. Yep. I did see that article. I scanned through it there, the QST article talking about the pure signal now working. It was really unfortunate that they just happened to get one that was bad. At least that was my impression. Because to me, I always thought, oh, I have my thing is tripped here. Untrip my doodad here. I think I'm going to have to just drop the power down just a little bit here and maybe not talk up quite so hard and this kind of stuff. I do have changing SWR here because it is some degree of precipitation here, so that's what's happening. But it was my impression that pure signal was always working just so nicely, as far as I could tell. So, but this particular radio I think was shipped and didn't. It had some kind of a resistor change that was required, which is, I don't know if the component value tolerance had simply shifted or if there was an actual modification. I guess I did not follow that. But it was always my impression that when I turned pure signal on, my goodness, what a huge difference it made. So maybe there's something further than what my Duanon radios was able to produce here. I don't know, but it was certainly at least more than the 17 dB that you had mentioned there. But at least that's what I thought, because it seemed like pure signal was just fantastically wonderful, and that's being very conservative almost. Alright, this is K0JTA. This is the software-defined radio net. Looking for any further possible check-ins or comments. Coming ahead now. Over. Nothing hurts. So I'll tell you what, I think I'm going to wrap things up here. I got some things I need to get done and things like that. Thanks very much for the folks that did happen to check in. Much appreciated. See you next week. Now that we're on the daylight savings times is off, we're going to be back on the 18:30 Zulu meeting time. It's always 12:30 local time here in Minnesota, but so it'll go to 18:30 Zulu until the daylight savings comes back next spring, and then we'll be back to 17:30 Zulu. But anyway, the meeting time at this particular point will remain then, or will be 18:30 Zulu for the foreseeable future, at least for the till next spring. Alright, I'll make this the last call. Last call for the software-defined radio net. K0JTA. Over. Nothing heard. Thanks very much for checking in. I guess that's about all I can add. Thanks very much, and David, especially thanks very much for your really interesting news today about the Raspberry Pi, about the new work that John is doing, and on like that. Very fascinating. 7-3 all. This is K0JTA securing this session of the software-defined radio net. 7-3 all. Over.
Have a good afternoon, Mike. K0JTA. WB6GFH, sir.
Okay, real good. Yeah, good afternoon. Good luck in getting the antenna up, by the way. You're still S8 to S9. Just a wonderful signal path we're enjoying here, which is just really fun because you're just so full of really good information, and you're refreshing my interest here in the antenna radio once again. These icons are fine, but well, I tell you what, and it's just got so many features and functions and abilities. It's hard to compare. Yes, these are software-defined radios that I'm running, but you know, aside from the signal purity, maybe things like that, I don't even know if it's that great. Matter of fact, I have my questions sometimes, but the antenna is just the king of the hill. That's the best way I can put it. 7-3, K0JTA is clear then. Bye-bye.
Yankee Delta, Fox on the air, CQ, CQ.
We're in the capital city of Oregon, and we're running Hallicrafter's SR-150 transceiver into a loud boomer. On the flex knob, there is a setting to reset that back to defaults, I think. And I was thinking it was on the flex control menu, but you should be able to reset that back to the default. Let's see, the other question. Gee, I didn't write it down. The cat startup. What was the other question, Ray? I'm sorry, it's a brain cramp here. No, you shouldn't. ALC's an old, back in the day when we didn't have any kind of power output regulation, the old Galaxies and Swans and all that didn't have RF output regulation. They used ALC to calm the transceiver output down. You know, some of them were running 300 watts out. And the amplifiers didn't need all that power. But if it's not set up correctly, it can do you more harm than good. Just, you know, if you're not, just make sure you're not overdriving the amplifier, which is what you should do in the first place. So, in most tube amplifiers, it's not necessary at all. Now, some transistor amplifiers will require the ALC things like Tokyo High Power and maybe PW1s. They're a little sensitive on the input power, but most of the tube amps are pretty forgiving there, Ray. Go ahead. good. I'll look for the default settings for that and see if I can find it. Thank you, Ray. Thank you for checking in. And 6600 sounds good. Let's see, W0FG, it's your turn from WA5QPZ.
WA5QPZ in the group, W0FG, and not much going on here. The only one that actually is here, up here in Iowa, running the 6500 SP 1.3. That's I'm going to high end of the field, so it's just get it up to 1.5. Rainy day, cold, miserable, just a good day to be in the hand shaft. I'm at 2.944, everything should run fine. Just waiting for the next stuff to come out.
All right, very good. Well, you got a audacious signal here into Austin that it's I think was peaking right at 20 over. So good signal. And thank you for checking in. Anything else?
I don't believe so. We're right along, and hopefully maybe we can hear a few more about those after the quarter.
All right, very good. Very good. 73s, and thank you for being there. Next on the list is Whiskey 1 India Zulu Zulu. This is WA5QPZ.
WA5QPZ in the Flex Group, Whiskey 1 IZZ. Larry, up here in Cape Cod, where it's a beautiful fall day, about 52 degrees, I guess. Winds gusting up about 20, but it's really quite a nice day, beautiful blue sky. Colorful day here in New England. And I'm running a 6500, driving a KPA 500, I guess about 500 or so watts. And I have a 4-element beam up about 50-odd feet. So that's the rig here. I don't have any real issues. 249 has been working well for me right along, and I love the new features, even though, you know, spots are just kind of fun, but it's really nice to have, and some of the other things that you guys have put in there, it's great stuff. So no issues here. One thing I would note is that I did for the first time just recently had an excuse to run via SmartLink and use DAX, which of course you couldn't do before, 249, because we were doing the JOTA event with the local Boy Scouts, and I just took a computer or laptop down to the location where we had internet access, and I just ran my home station with a big monitor. So, you know, it was really nice. And it was great that they were great to have DAX. I've done it before using virtual audio software in the laptop remotely, but this is much cleaner and very nice and seemed to work very well. So thanks a lot, guys. And that's it for me. WA5QPZ, Whiskey 1 IZZ. Comment?
Very good. Thank you, Larry. And somebody's got a comment there. Go ahead.
Yeah, Dudley, this is Don in San Jose, AI6RE. I'm unable to connect to the Echo Link, so I thought I'd just let you know it doesn't seem to be connecting. That's it. Back to you.
Oh, thank you, John. Thank you, Don. And I'll let me just restart it and see. I know it kind of came up funny, so I'll restart Echolink, and let me know if you still can't get to it there, Don. And Larry, thank you for your for doing the service with. Yeah, there it comes. Thank you for doing the service with the scout troops. That's our future hands there, so appreciate it. And we'll break with you. Next on the list is VE3INH. John, your turn, your comments for the group. This W5QPZ in the FlexNet. very good. Thank you there, John. And there's several. I've got 3 folks checked in now on Echolink, and thank you for the comment, Don. I didn't know. I hadn't seen anybody check in, and I meant to, as I was sitting here, restart it, but I just hadn't done it and had it covered up. So Echolink is now operational for those that use that as a backup. And no, John, I have not gotten a secondary antenna. It's I've got to figure out a feed line entry for that. But we'll do something toward that end. Maybe I'll try again this week. Thank you for your comments, John. Next on the list is WQ4A. Your comments for the group. This is WA5QPZ in the FlexNet.
Well, good afternoon, Dudley, and to you and everyone on the FlexNet. This is Whiskey Quebec 4 Alpha. Paul in North Carolina. Good to be in this afternoon. I've had a good copy on Joe, Dale, and Richard. Richard from Iowa was booming in here. Dudley, I'm operating this afternoon on a Flex 3000, and appreciate you running the net. Good to be in here, and hope you're able to copy. WQ4A, back to you, Dudley.
All right, very good. You'll have to refresh my memory. What's the handle there?
I'm sorry, Dudley. The name here is Paul, Papa Alpha Uniform Lima.
Okay, very good. You know, I have a memory like a steel trap that's rusted shut. So thank you, Paul. And sorry about that. I should have remembered it after you mentioned it. Very good. Thank you. And the 3000 sounding good. Next is N0REH. It's WA5QPZ in the FlexNet.
Yeah, okay. This is R80 radio. That's the hotel. Name here is Richard. Up here in the state of Minnesota. Eagan, Minnesota, to be specific. And operating up for 6400. It's about a week old now. So I did my 5008 for sale. Everybody knows somebody looking for something like that. That party that was texting me the next man about it. I don't want to get a flex. So anyway, yeah, I got the 5008, low receiver, tuner, firewire, all we do is just plug it in. It's ready to go to work. And they can reach me, I'll give them my phone number, 612-790-13332. That's it on this one. This is N0REH.
All right, very good, Richard. And 6400 sounded great. Hope you enjoy that radio. Is it working all right for you so far?
Well, so far. The radio is smarter than me. There's features in there that we don't use, but I never will use. It's in there. So it's just my own fault that I get myself advanced a little more in the hobby. It's okay, I'm enjoying what I got.
All right, very good. Well, that's all that counts. It's that you enjoy it. Very good. And 5000 is a good radio. 6400's got a little bit of an edge on it there. So glad you're enjoying the new radio. And Richard has this 5000A with dual receivers for sale. So if anybody needs to contact him. Are you okay in QRZ, Richard?
QSL.
Okay, he's good in QRZ. Drop him a note, and he also gave out his phone number too. But drop him a note and let him know. All right, thank you, Richard. Maybe somebody would come along that would like to have a 5000A. Got one sitting right here under the desk. Next up is W4NTG. Your comments for the group. It's WA5QPZ and the FlexNet.
WA5QPZ, W4
K0JTA. Good afternoon, Dudley. Yeah, well, this is the first time on the net. We got a beautiful signal up here in southeast Virginia. And we're running a 6500 barefoot at the time, and a step IR up about 50 foot. I guess we're a troglodyte. We run Windows 7. I've had absolutely, well, I won't say zero problems, but I had a little issue with DAX, and we reloaded them, and from that point on, it's run like clockwork. Over.
All right, very good. Well, that's the way it should work. Of course, if background things change, it could change too, but that's the way it's supposed to work there. But you've got a good signal here into Austin. Any other comments for the group?
Yeah, you probably don't know the answer to this. I actually, most of my radio work, I'd say 95% is with Mars, and I'm really interested in the ALE card. Have you heard anything new on that, over?
No, I don't know. I don't have any comments for that. I really don't know. Best thing to do